Shalom. This goes out to my TI brothers, and you'll know who you are when I started speaking about what we're talking about. Posted in the sovereignty group on Facebook last night, and it was the last thing that I actually saw before, I shut the machine down and I went to bed. Well, this morning when I woke up, my phone was broke. And, and I actually lit out on my son. I lit out into my son. I actually thought he broke it. And my son began to cry. And I asked him, I said, why are you crying? My son never cries when I talk to him about anything that he does that. If I don't like it, I'm going to talk to him about it. He never cries. But he started crying. And I said, why are you crying? And he said, Ima, even you know that they can come into your house, into our room, and they can move things around, and they can take things, and they'll break things, and they'll have you blame me. And when he said that, I had to sit down and think, and the picture I saw was this page. Left a link in the sovereignty group, and I went to this page, and I read it, did a little research on it, and that's what I saw when my son said that. I saw this page when my mind kept telling me to apologize. So I did. I apologized to my son. And after we went through that, we began to speak on a lot of things that has been going on, and some things been going on with my son that he didn't even tell me about. But I want to tell you about what happened the night before last night. My son went into the kitchen, and he saw a pot on the stove that had some sausages in it. I have two roommates, one named Bill, one named Dave. So he thought that the sausages belonged to Dave, and he thought Dave was woke. So he didn't say anything to Dave. It wasn't any reason for him to say anything to Dave. Okay, he saw them, and he came in here, and he said he was on the machine for a little while, and then he went to bed. Man, this stuff is so confusing, and they make this stuff so crazy. And the reason I'm talking to you, my TI brother, because I know you know what I'm talking about, because you're the one that taught me about gaslighting and some other things. Okay, so the alarm started going off, and I heard the alarm go off, and with sirens and alarms and a whole lot of loud noise, I can actually sleep through that. It's like soothing for me, so I can sleep through it. So I heard the alarm go off, and my mind said, wow, I can really sleep through that, and it's like another part of my mind said, get up and go see what's going on, because I've never heard that sound in this house before. And then it's like the other part of my mind said, no, I want to go to sleep. I can really sleep through that. It's so soothing. And then the other part of my mind said, get up and go see what's going on, because I've never heard that sound in this house before. And my other mind said, no, I don't want to. I want to go to sleep. And it's like I was dozing off, and then this is my mindset. Get your dumb ass up and go and see what's going on, because I've never heard that sound before. And that's exactly how my mind said. It's like my mind was having a tug of war. So I got up and I opened the door. And when I opened the door, it was smoke all in the living room and all in the kitchen. And so I went into the kitchen, and I saw this pot on the stove, and it had the sausages in it, which I know that's what Bill eats, not what Dave eats. So I knew it was Bill's, and I saw Bill on the couch asleep. So I just turned the pot off. When I got in the kitchen, I can hear this sizzling sound. You know, it's like these sausages were frying without oil or anything. And so I turned the pot off, and I took the pot and I put the pot on the front eye because it was on the back eye. And I came in to my room, and I got ready to get back in the bed. And when I got ready to get back in the bed, I thought to myself, damn, my back didn't hurt. You know, because when I get up out of the bed, I can't get up too fast out of the bed. You know, it takes me a minute to get out of the bed because of my back. But I got up out of the bed pretty swift, and I didn't feel my back hurt. And I thought about that when I got ready to get in the bed. I didn't feel my back hurt. And all of a sudden, I had like this little sensation to the top of my left foot, as though I was being shocked. Okay, so now I didn't know how to turn off the alarm, so I didn't turn it off. Plus, you know, I can sleep very well through stuff like that, sirens, loud noises, everything. It really, you know, it's like soothing. I can really sleep. And I thought, why nobody else in this house heard the sound? Okay, so then later on, I don't know how many minutes was passed. I really don't know. But later on, I heard both my roommates' voices as though they were speaking. And the sound was, you know, no longer. It stopped. And next thing I know, I heard Bill on the phone. And I thought to myself, damn, they didn't hear the alarm, but they heard a phone ring? Okay, so the next morning when I woke up, you know, Bill had started to change because, like I say, when you hang out with wicked people, you become wicked. So Bill started to change toward me. So the next morning when I got up, I was going out of my door to go in the bathroom, and Bill was coming out of the bathroom. And he didn't speak to me or anything. Normally Bill speaks because that's how he used to be. You know, he'll speak to me, but he didn't speak. So I just said, hey, what's up, you know, to him. You know, I said, hey, how you doing? And he said, oh, I'm okay. I need to talk to you Sunday. You know, like, I really don't know what's up. So I go to the bathroom, and I get out of the bathroom because Dave decided, you know, to turn the water off in the sink in the bathroom. And Bill follows Dave's orders, you know, straight, you know, follows his commands. So I go in the kitchen to wash my hands. And Bill is still saying, you know, I'll talk to you Sunday, I'll talk to you Sunday. And I really hadn't said anything to him, so I said, well, can you tell me what it's about? I told you I'll talk to you Sunday. And I said, well, can you at least give me a title, you know? And so I just went and washed my hands, and as the water was running, I could hear Bill's voice, but I didn't know what he was saying. So when I turned the water off, I asked him, I said, what did you say? And he still said it again. I'll talk to you Sunday, you know. Okay, so he left out and he went to work. So I went to, and I saw that Dave was up and his door was kind of open, so I knocked on his door. And went in and I asked Dave about last night, you know, what was going on. You know, not last night, but the night this happened. This was yesterday morning. And so Dave told me that he wasn't here. See, we don't never know when Dave's here because Dave never lets you know when he goes out. And if you don't see him come in, you won't know when he comes in. Sometimes you can see him come in, but when he goes out, you won't know it. So we never really know when Dave is here or not. And as I said, my son thought that that was Dave cooking because, you know, the next morning because he said he saw Bill was asleep, so he thought it was Dave that was cooking. Okay, so now I'm talking to Dave, and now me and Dave are both like confused because we don't really know what's going on. So this is what happened when Dave came in. So Dave comes in, and Dave sees, you know, the smoke, you know. And so Dave said he opened the window and he opened the door. He said he went to the stove and he noticed that the pot had been burnt up, but it was not on. So that confused him. So he opened the window. He said when he opened the door, Bill woke up. And I asked him, I said, well, what, he said he asked Bill, excuse me, he said he asked Bill, he said to Bill, man, what's going on? And I asked him, I said, well, what did Bill say when you said that? He said Bill had no answers. So Dave was just as confounded as I was. Okay, so me and Dave both, we're looking for answers to what's going on, because Dave didn't know that I was the one that turned off the pot. And there was something else, you know, that when Bill, you know, after I washed my hands and I spoke to Bill, and I said to him also, I said, you know, the house almost burned down last night. And he goes, yeah, I know. Dave came in, took the pot off the stove. I said, no, I ain't took the pot off the stove. But Bill insists that Dave had taken the pot off the stove. Okay, so now I'm talking to Dave. Find out Dave was not at home. Dave was at work. So Dave comes in, Dave sees it, he opens the window, he opens the door, Bill awakens, and he asks Bill, you know, what's going on. Bill has no answers for him. Okay, so I let Dave know that I got up and I turned off the stove, you know, turned the stove off, and that I was the one who moved the pot from the back eye to the front eye. Okay, so now, you know, and I'm telling Dave, you know, that the alarm was going off and that my son, nor my grandson, nor Bill woke up. So now the phone call. So I asked Dave, I said, well, was Bill on the phone? He said, yes. I said, who called him? And he said that it was Dave's girl. I said, well, what time was it? He said it was in between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. So I said, well, does she normally call Bill at that time? And he said, no, see, Bill doesn't have a phone. Bill doesn't want to have a phone. So I said, does he normally call him at that time? He said, no, the latest that she would call would be 10:30. So my mind just started, wheels started going in my head. Now, for a couple of weeks now, I noticed that, like one day Bill came in from work. And when Bill comes in from work, everybody knows. If you're woke, everybody knows that Bill is here. Bill either speaks to you. If my door is open, he speaks. If my door is closed, I still know Bill is here because he's going to turn the TV on, and Bill always talks to the TV. So you're going to always know that Bill is here. So I go into the living room. I go out of my room that night, and I go into the living room, and I see Bill sitting on the couch. And I say, hey, Bill, I didn't know you were here. And he didn't say anything. So I go into the kitchen, I turn the light on, and I notice that Bill's asleep. And the first thing came to my mind is that maybe he's tired, you know? Okay, and before that, when me and Bill used to like converse on the days he's off, you know, we used to communicate, and I was in there and I was telling Bill how the righteous people hang out with the wicked. Before I did the video, I was telling him about that. And he was agreeing with me, and Bill didn't actually understand that I was talking about him hanging out with Dave. Okay, so before we got to that conversation, you know, you could tell that Bill had this energy in him. You could tell it by his eyes that he had this energy in him, and also the way he was sitting up, that he had energy in him. But when we started speaking about how the righteous hangs out with the wicked, all of a sudden, Bill fell asleep. I mean, just like that. Bill fell asleep. And I knew that they had put Bill to sleep. And then the night when I saw him sitting in the living room, nobody knew he was here, and he was asleep, I just thought he was tired. But the night that the pot almost set the house on fire, that morning when I woke up, I began to, you know, think about things. And after speaking with Dave, and after knowing that it was Bill's so-called girlfriend that called between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning, and Dave said when he answered the phone, she asked him, "Are you all asleep?" That's the first thing she said. "Are you all asleep?" And Dave said he told her, "Well, I'm not now." And so, anyways, Bill got the phone. I could hear Bill, and I knew Bill was talking on the phone, but I don't remember exactly, you know, what Bill was saying. You know, I really couldn't hear it. Plus, I was like half asleep, half woke. I went back to sleep. But when Dave told me that it was his girlfriend that called, and then the way Bill met this girl, well, anyway, I knew once he met the girl, I knew they had sent him the girl to him, for one thing, what her name is. I knew that they had sent that girl to Bill. And, okay, so she called. And I told Dave, I said, yeah, the reason she called was to see if this house was on fire, because they put Bill to sleep. And I'm talking to you, my TI brother, because I know that you know what I'm talking about. And this shit is so crazy that other people would think, you know, what I'm talking about is normal. And so I called Amy yesterday morning. I don't know if you know Amy, but I called Amy yesterday morning. And so Amy, she called Tammy, so we had like this three-way call. And we were talking, I had already talked to Amy about what had happened. So by the time Tammy got on the phone, we were really talking about something else. And this morning I woke up and my phone was broke. And Amy told me on the phone, she said, Israel, you be careful, you be watchful. Because they know that you know what happened. You know that all of this stuff is staged, which I know is all staged. It's like somebody is writing plays. And then Amy said, do you know how many other people have died like that in their homes with this fire? Maybe the alarm went off and they just didn't hear it. That was the weirdest thing. My son has this alarm clock that sounds similar to the fire alarm thing. And my son hears his alarm clock every morning. And he had just fallen asleep, and I couldn't understand why he didn't hear that. Bill didn't hear it. Excuse me. And this alarm was going off for a minute before I even got up, because I was sitting there arguing with myself. Or I was sitting there arguing with my controller. Okay, so that's what happened then. Now, and then the thing that was so odd to me is that what you posted in the sovereignty group on Facebook, and when I went to see it, that was the last thing that I saw. And then I wake up this morning and my phone is broke. And I know my phone was on the charger last night, and I know my phone was up on the table last night, because before I went to bed, I texted my daughter to see if she was coming to get my grandson, and I said, are you guys coming? She texted me back, she said, yes. I said, well, when you get here, let me know when you're here, because I'm going to bed. And man, I went to bed and I was so sleepy. It was like, and I knew it was them that was putting me to sleep. I knew that they were putting me to sleep, because I don't go to sleep. I don't lay down and fall asleep before my head hits the pillow. You know, a lot of people tell me they do that, and I'm like, darn, you know, I never do that. It's like I watch movies in my head, and that puts me to sleep. Or I'm being told stories in my head, you know, like somebody's reading a book, and which turns into a movie anyway. Okay, so, but last night I was so sleepy that, and this was like a little after 8, and I was so sleepy that really before my head hit the pillow, I was asleep. So when that fire started, no, when I woke up this morning, my bad. When I woke up this morning, I saw, now I had a dream that my phone was on the table next to my bed, because normally I plug it up at night and I put it in the drawer next to the bed, because I don't like my phone out, you know, while I'm asleep. So I put it in the drawer while I charge it. For some reason yesterday I put it over here and on this table, and I never put my phone over here to charge it up. I never do that, but I did. So this morning I got up, I got up like around 3. For some reason I just couldn't sleep, so I got up and I got on the machine to see if I had any messages. And then I thought, what time is it? Because outside it never, you know, when I wake up, I sometimes do wake up like 4:30, but it's not that dark. So I looked, and it says it's very dark outside. What time is it? And I looked down to see what time it was, and it was like 3 something. So I said, okay, let me go. I'm gonna play these games. and the games will put me to sleep because they're so boring. So I went and I played the game, and yes, I did get sleepy. So I went and I laid down and went to sleep. And then maybe about 6, I guess, or a little bit before 6, I heard Bill and Dave talking. That woke me up. Okay, so I got up, and about 6:15, I told my son, it was time for him to get up, and because his alarm clock didn't go off. So I said, it's time for him to get up, whatever. So he gets up, and then when he gets up, I start dusting, and I dust the nightstand. And when I dust the nightstand, I noticed my phone wasn't over there. But I had this dream like my phone was over there. I guess it was a dream because my phone was over there. So then I remembered, oh, that's right, I plugged it up over here. So I came over here, and I looked for my phone on the table, and it wasn't on the table. And I looked down, and my phone was face up, and it was broken. And I was like, wow. And my son was in the bathroom, so I started I went to my son, and I was like, Micaiah, you broke my phone? And he was like, what are you talking about? I said, my phone, you broke my phone. He said, no, I didn't break your phone, this and that. And then he was like, if I did, I don't know I did it, And so, anyways, we got into it, and he reminded me that, of the gaslighting thing. Okay, so we go through that. And now my baby girl is so targeted that she won't listen to anything I say, so she's blinded to it. And so they started doing this thing called Girls on a Trolley. And when they began to do one of the videos, which is one of the first video they put on their YouTube page, this guy, he said, oh, interview me. So they went and they interviewed him. And then the next day they saw this guy. And then the day after that they saw this guy. And then my daughter winds up losing her phone, and she could not remember. She said it was like a piece of the day was gone, and she just could not remember, where she could have put her phone. And by the time she thought that it was missing, she said it was around 11 o'clock, so they went, backtracked and couldn't find her phone. But one of my daughters, my third daughter, wound up with her phone and never told her how she got her phone. And she said she was going to bring my daughter her phone. So she kept having my daughters, my daughter's out and I'll go home. My daughter's out and I'll go home. But she would have my daughter to come out this way and said she'll meet her at the trolley and give her her phone. So my daughter came out this way. My daughter and my granddaughters, they came out this way. And when my daughter used my phone to call her, I guess since it was my phone she used, my daughter kind of got upset and never told her how she got a hold to my daughter's phone. How my daughter found out she got a hold to her phone was my daughter has this little tracking thing, which I took off my phone. My daughter has this tracking thing on her phone, so she used the machine, and she noticed that there was a phone call made from her phone at 1 o'clock to my third daughter. And it was a 3-minute call. And then she noticed at 1:28, the phone call was made to my daughter again. That was only 1 minute. And I told her, I said, well, maybe they called her to let her know that they had found your phone. And maybe the 1 minute is to call her because wherever she was going to meet them at, maybe they were saying they was there or whatever. However, my third daughter wound up with her phone. My third daughter is part of our targeting. And I know it sounds crazy, but she is. And she gaslighted the hell out of me. When I went to her house, and if you had never told me about being gaslighted, I would not have never known, about what was going on. Okay, so then she tells my daughter, okay, go to my son's house. Now, my son lives out in El Cajon, which where my daughter was in the first place. Okay, so they go out there. She's like trying to give them a runaround. And my daughter says, yes, she wants us to spend all our money on the trolley. Okay, so she never went to El Cajon to give my daughter her phone. However, the next morning, my daughter's in El Cajon at my son's house. She opens the door, and there's her phone. So she had to go out there to give her her phone. Now, I was telling my son about that, and I was also telling my son about even my third daughter but I guess because my baby girl is with her, and my baby girl is really, really targeted. She's targeted, like out of this world type targeted. But my daughter won't listen to what I'm saying about being targeted. So they had went to the store, and it was this guy in the parking lot. And when my daughter got ready, the third daughter, when she got ready to pull in for the park, he hurried up and pulled in before her. See, I know what's going on with that. Okay, so my third daughter, she'll let Satan mess with her head, so she really don't know how to handle these situations. And so then the second day, this same guy, they went to another store, the same name store, but in a different area. This guy was standing there again. Okay, so the third day, this guy was there, and then my children, the second day, they kind of like got into a little fight or something like that. But the third day, they saw him, and then my daughters knew what was going on. They knew then what was going on because I talked to them a lot. And so they began, like to curse the dude out and stuff, and they have a video of it. Okay, so I was telling my son that, about both of those incidents. And then my son tells me about this guy that he sees all the time. And he said, at first when I saw him, he said, I thought he was someone that I knew. He said, because I talk to Muslims a lot. Some I talk to, some I get in an argument with. He said, but I still talk to them a lot. So this guy looks like a Muslim, so he thought that this guy was one of the Muslims. He said, so when he saw me, he gave him a high five. And then I brought up the thing about the Denzel movie, when you let these people touch you. And he was thinking the same thing, but I spoke it while he was thinking it. Then he began to tell me that he would see the guy, and they both just go, like, what's up, and, keep moving. He said he saw the guy one day, and he, said, what's up to him, and the guy acted like he didn't know my son. And my son said, now he sees him. And my son said, I think I'm going to have to fight him one day. And see, that's what they want you to do. They want you to come out of character. So I told my son about that, because he did have to fight someone who was targeting him. He had to fight him one day. And so when my son told me that, I asked my son, I said, where do you see him at? Do you see him in the same place all the time? My son said, no. My son said, I see him at different bus stops, because my son, he catches the city bus to school. Then he goes to his friend's house or his sister's house or his brother's house, and he uses public transportation. So he says he sees this guy like that. But I just want you to know, what had happened.